Alright, welcome to another video on how to become a business consulting freelancer. And ultimately is to provide value to business. In my case is as a software developer, specifically with JavaScript and TypeScript environments like Node.js, for example, or Dino. So here I'm going to make a quick recap of what I have learned so far in this last section. Okay, so Paul Manders, the Zero to Mastering structure, mentioned over the past four sections that first it's important to understand the fundamental of building a consulting career, and then you can now getting started as a business consulting, and so you can then now know where to find and land paying consulting clients, as well as the solution selling techniques or the sell tactics that you use or that people on this sphere needs to use. And it's funny because now, just to make a quick tangent, I'm combining is the technology aspect with sales and marketing, right? And after all, they are not tightly loose, or they're all made of the same puzzle. So they are piece of the entire puzzle. So right now I'm looking is how to conduct research and gather quality data, recognize the importance of the data because it can help you to inform, persuade, reinforce your point of view, but also can be misleading. And because of that, especially when you're conducting a consulting research to a consulting project for a consulting project, it is important to recognize what is the most valuable source of data. Data that comes from the company is the first party data. The aggregate or the secondary data, or that data that come from trust sources, they are not anonymous. They have a great record of proven record of research report, peer review, and ultimately the aggregate sources. This is in that position, since you cannot verify the quality of those sources or who the author really is. But ultimately, it is important to depend on your area of consulting and also the report that you want to create based on your research. Mention them, and then from a broad perspective, understand how to conduct a research, which is see things from different perspective, because things are not black and white. Okay, so play devil advocate with yourself. Second, gather relevant data. This might sound silly, but this is very underrated. Keep notes in uh, source and record every source you obtain. Then you qualify that data so you can ultimately now go back for clients feedback. Okay, so Paul Mendes made a guidelines on how he made that again on the from the marketing perspective, how he conduct a research on a tourist website. Okay, and the couple of things that he does, right? Like first, understand what they offer, all their products and service, and then you go into the specific about how much they charge, the company's review, what makes this company unique, which is something that I'm going to use in my consulting. And then, if you can have access to that, go to the first party data to see what they have done in the past and see how they have been doing or what they have done, and see how you can provide your suggestions based on that. Usually, you have to sign an agreement for that. And once you conduct this research based on their website, their brand, how much they charge, now you move to the second party data, the competitor analysis. And here's you want to know is who the other players in that industry are, see what they have doing and what you can learn from them, and make a keyword research based on that. Because now when you use some tools like keyword tools from Google or any other out there, you are now making this keyword research to understand what's going on in that industry. And from there, okay, once you do that, on top of that, you want to know is now what's new to get and to keep uh, up to date. So to get up to date of what's going on in that industry and in the world, and that is how this industry is adapting to regulations and where this industry is going. So based on those guidelines, right? And I'm going to make it simple, like especially if you're conducting a research from the marketing perspective. This is important. The context is important. Okay, so look at the website. So you look at the genetics and then into the specific, and if you can have access to their first party data, great, because now you can see what they have done in the past, how they have been performing, to provide your suggestions, to see how you can do that, and then make the competitor analysis to figuring out who the other players are in that industry and what they're doing, as well as how and what you can learn from them. So once you conduct a keyword research and use keyword tools out there to know what's going on in that industry, okay, then on top of that you make uh, you get key up you make a research to get up to date data by looking at the worst news and understand how that everything that you have researched, what is most likely to work today, and that includes how this industry is adapting to regulations and where this industry is going. Now, because I want to conduct my own research from the e-commerce sphere, because after all, I want is to combine that with uh, a Knox project that I want to do. Again, this is a separate project, uh, a web this a web development project that I want to build, a POC commerce with Knox and other technology out there. But again, the whole point of this is to conduct a research on the e-commerce. Okay, so with that, first I need to know what is an e-commerce. And according to Amazon, which is the trade of goods and assets over the internet, so it is your bustling city center if you're a very large business, or your brick and mortar shop converted into zeros and ones on the internet's on the super high, Jesus, sorry, on the internet super highway. Whereas Shopify mentioned yes, e-business refers while e-business refers to operating all assets, while e-business refers to operating all aspects of an online business, and the specific activities of a business are marketing, they conduct a research, they develop marketing strategies, uh, as well as create campaign ads and manage social networks, sales, They identify potential sale leads or customers, contact them via the sales calls or presentations, negotiate a contract or offering, and close deals. Then you have the finance, which keep track of every financial transactions, create financial reports, as well as take care of your taxes, among other things. Human research, which are now responsible for hiring and uh, hiring employees, manage their uh, manage their mm, manage their, how do you put that, manage employees benefits and payroll, as well as administrating that, and potential uh, conflict that may happen amongst employees. Operation management, that are responsible for develop and implementing production process. Develop and implementing production process, uh, check the quality standards and establish quality standards for that, as well as improving existence or create new operation process for efficiency. The IT, which is responsible for creating software networks, develop and implementing software systems, provide technical support and ensuring data security. Customer service, inquire, responding to inquiries uh, of clients. Responding to inquiries to client, handles refunds and complaints, provide technical supports, and check the customer satisfactions. And then you have is R&D, which is research and development, implementing this develop and implementing new product or improve the existing ones, as well as issue patents uh, for the company. So this means all specific aspect of operating an online business. Okay, marketing, sales, accounting, human research, management process, IT, customer service, and R&D, research and development. But e-commerce refers specifically to the transaction of goods and service over the internet. And then I look at the different actors involved, okay? The business, government, and consumers, and the type of e-commerce or AKA business model. What you have the most common is the business to consumer. Example is retailers like Amazon, Alibaba, and e-business. Subscription service like Netflix or Spotify. Digital marketplace like Etsy or eBay. Online ordering food and delivery service like Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash, as well as booking and traveling like Airbnb, Booking.coms, and Expedia. Another example is the business to business, where now here you have uh, online marketplace like Alibaba, Amazon e-business or eBay business, EDI, electronic data interchange, so traditionally paperwork that were or that yeah, that were made on paper. Now it is done electronically within the company or externally in a secure way, such as invoice and payroll, or customer, such as invoice or purchase order, right? Um, also, yeah, also, um, mm, yeah, and also we have is uh, online portals where now very large business set up online portals to streamline their supply chains or procurement portals such as SAP, Ariba Network, or wholesale e-commerce, and uh, business-to-business payment solutions as well, such as Stripe or PayPal, and wholesale like Granger or Uline. Another example is uh, government to, or in this case, is consumer to business, where now you might find here is freelance work, online survey, user generated content, uh, reverse auctions, and crowdfunding. And when it comes to government to business, well, they provide uh, public procurement portals like the FBO on the US, or the UK government federal UK government yeah your UK government finder, the UK contract finder, the UK contract finder, yeah, contract finders, the UK contract finders. The UK contract finder service, the UK contract finder service, tax filing and payment system like the electronic tax payment, Jesus, electronic federal tax payment system in the US, or the HM custom revenue, permit and licensing, such as food, yeah, food licensing, building permit, international trade and custom clearance, like electronic custom clearance or electronic custom clearance or export declaration, or this business registrations like the SBA on US or the company house in the UK. The other relationship is the government to consumers, where now governments provide is tax payment portals like the IRS, or in the US, or the UK contract fund, or the HM custom revenue, utility bills, driving and vehicle licensing registrations, passport applications, ordering birth and death certificates. And for the consumer to uh, government, you have is online petitions, online donations, tax or payment of fines and fees. uh, licensing and permits, such as fishing licensing or hunt permits. And now understand that, okay? Then I look at the competitor analysis to see who the other players are in that industry. So we have Amazon, Alibaba, eBay, IKEA, Walmart, and what are the or the keyword research to understand what's going on in that industry. So it is the shopping, for example, Shopify, where the themes, the websites, the POC, the point of sales, as well as the Amazon gift cards, Alexa, Fire Sticks. And now, with that understanding, okay, it is time to put everything that you have researched into a visually engaging presentation. And the way to do that is by, well, following these particular guidelines that they describe here, okay, and how to create a effective and appealing consumer report. Prior to that, it's important to understand why we do this, because as humans, we most of the time perceive visual content much more faster, and also we don't want to kill the client with some presentation. We don't want to make the presentation, to kill them with the death of presentation. And again, the whole point of this is to display data to the client so they can see how you reach to that conclusion by showing the meaningful patterns, and from there develop and implement your suggestions based on a common agreement. So to do this, first analyze your notes and research. So before creating a report, you must know exactly how you're going to use that research that you gather in the report. Okay. Then put the most valuable data first, because you don't want the client start to forget what was. You don't want the client wants to forget what the most important thing was. So by showing the most valuable first, and then uh, expand on that with visual reports and different aesthetics, you can maintain the engagement of your clients as you develop your report and as you explain that. The other is create templates, especially if you already have business that they constantly or recurring clients when they want to do that. Okay, and ultimately use visual data, or use data graph and charts whenever it's possible, because this is an MIT. There is an MIT study in 2014 that the neuroscientists find that the brain can identify image scenes for as little as 13 milliseconds. So, in other words, data visualizations help you to make informed decisions and to know how can we integrate different visualizations. Okay. Mhm. To understand how can we integrate this different visual representation, or this different graph, and how you can use it. Where are the most common use case? Well, first I look at the bar graph, which are great when you want to compare different things, show change over time, or compare things par as a whole. Okay. Then you have this pie chart, where when you want to make a part to a whole comparison, and this is most impactful of small data sets with continuous data. The source here is data hero. Then you have line graph, which it showed the time series relationship with continuous data, and they're great to show trends, acceleration or decelerations, or volatility. This line graph. Then I look at the area chart, which it also allows you to see a time series relationship, but now they can represent volume, meaning that you can show another variable. Okay, so all of these five data visualizations, bar, pie, line, area, or these four graph are time series related. Okay, so it's to see time series relationship. Okay. Now then I look at the scatter plot, which is when you want to look at the relationship of different items. Okay, the relationship between items based on a two set of variables. Okay, so here you don't want to see is a time series relationship. You want to see is how different items related each other's based on two set of variables. This is to see correlations in large amount of data, scatter plot. Bubble chart is a combo of scatter plot and area chart, where now here they are useful for displaying nominal data or nominal comparisons or ranking relationship. And when you talk about nominal comparisons, where our nominal comparison means that the order doesn't matter. Where the order doesn't matter. They are helpful comparing multiple data points on the same chart. So for example, in scatter plot, we can see how different items, we can see the correlation of different items based on two variables. So for example, time, customer satisfaction on the y-axis, or customer satisfaction on the y-axis, and uh, customer satisfaction on the y-axis, and uh, time to respond in the x-axis. Okay, an example of a bubble chart is, again, this is to see the relationship. Okay, it's a combo between scatter plot and proportional area chart, which is useful when you want to display nominal comparisons or ranking data. Nominal comparisons are comparisons where order doesn't matter, and it is useful to compare these multiple data sets. So for example, time spent on internet or time spent on an app, the age, and because this is bubble, different genders of that. So here you can represent is three variables, again, to see the correlation of data. And then I look at the heat map. Whereas heat map is for displaying categorical data using intensity of colors to represent values of geographical area or data tables. So the point of this, okay, of this displaying categorical data is data that is displaying categorical data is data, qualified data or qualitative data that can be grouped into different classes, whether it's nominal or ordinal. Nominal is when the order doesn't matter or they don't have an inherent order, uh, such as your country, color of your hair or your hair, color of your eyes, your hair, type of hair, ethnicity, and so on. And ordinal is where it has an inherent order, such as school educations, school educations, salary brackets, uh, mm, school education, salary bracket, job seniority, customer satisfaction. Okay, all right. So after all, heat maps display categorical data using intensity of colors that represents values of a geographical location or a data table. And for example, it represents the intensity of color. It can represent this categorical data, okay, whether the order matter or not, but it can represent this categorical data, so, as a data table or geographical location. Mhm. So for example here, if you look at GitHub, GitHub is a great example of this, right? So GitHub show this categorical data, all right? So GitHub show this categorical data in a so the GitHub show a heat map. We show this categorical data, okay, where they show this categorical data that it represents or a geographical location, or in this case, a data table that show how contributions are made on different repositories. But it's like this, right? So it shows the amount of this categorical data, the contribution here, order doesn't matter, okay, of this. Well, order matters because now they display this per month, right? They display now this per month and they show this categorical data. So this is a great example of this heat map, okay? So the heat map display categorical data is a qualitative data that can be grouped in different categories, whether it's nominal or ordinal. Nominal is when it doesn't have an inherent order, such as type of cards, color of hair, color of eyes, type of hair, ethnicity, countries, colors. In ordinal, where it has an inherent order, such as job seniority, customer satisfactions, wage salaries, education levels. All right, so this is heat maps. And then I look at geomap, which map plotting data on geomaps, showing the distribution of data across regions. This is the geomap. So geomap maps plotting data on geomaps, showing the distribution of data across regions. After all, here it shows you is the distribution of data across a region. Geomap. And then you have tables. The simplest way to compare cell by cell representative where block views are coming from. For example, after all, this is an easy way to compare or cell representative or where block views are come from. And then you have waterfall charts. Okay, show value over time and how cohorts performance over time. And then you have pictograms. So simply way to display statistic using icons. And then the tools and resources that allow you to leverage your report, right? Whether it's Microsoft Excel, Statista, which is one of the main, it's a think tank. It's a think tank. What they offer is that kind of data. All right, Google Trends, Canvas to generate your reports, Google Charts and Google Sheets, and CRM analytics like HubSpot. Again, make it easy to follow and see how others formulate data. And see how others formulate data. Okay. Yep, that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.